Have you read The Philosophy of Freedom by Rudolf Steiner?
No.
So in this book, he basically it's not the type of book you read for the content. It's a book that structures the way you think. And it's quite difficult to actually comprehend and to read it. It's not meant to be it's a exercise for the mind.
Yeah.
And through reading it, one of my biggest takeaways is that almost everything we do as humans is a program. And we're simply carrying out a pattern that is very predictable, and it's based on a lot of different factors, but it's not really ours. We're not really generating it. It's not generated from the self, it's generated from the outside world. And so we're responding to the outside world. We're moving towards perceived pleasure and away from perceived pain. And so to step out of this, you know, we need to observe what is really my motive. And then where is that motive arising from? Is this motive because this is what has been shown to be important? Is it's a value that I believe to be important? And then if you do, then why? Why is it important? Why is it your value? And that's, where the real work begins, because that's a personal exploration, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure, we've both studied with Paul Chek, and he's very big on the core values. So I'm sure you've danced quite a bit for your own values.
Yes, absolutely.
The only way to really know values is to go through the experience of having them,
Mhm.
and then also the contrast of not having them. And through that, you begin to see what is really important to you. And what is persisting, what is consistent, is generally more true for you. And what tends to fall away is generally not sustainable. And that's why it's falling away.
That's a good point. Jordan Peterson, I love Jordan Peterson. Do you watch Jordan Peterson?
Not as much anymore, but I used to it. But I definitely enjoy the
Yeah,
way he speaks and articulates himself.
absolutely. I think he's gotten smarter since I first started. Huh?
I believe it.
He's actually, when I hear him speak now, he's gotten smarter. I don't even know if that was possible. That guy's fucking extremely smart. But he mentioned that when you live a life by truth, that is the most exciting,
Yes.
right? Um, and I do think that truth is not the norm today, unfortunately. Maybe it's never been the norm. But the people that get the arrows on their back are usually the people that are like, hey, this is wrong. This is not right. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, fuck what the norm is. Like, I'm going to stand for what is true, and not, even if you don't like it, right? But I like to argue that is extremely difficult for a normal person to do. I mean, I wish it wasn't, but I do want to say that it potentially might be. And then again, in my mind, I do see people feeling like, okay, first I'm gonna get that root chakra, get all my bases covered with money, like, get my bases covered with my status, and then I'll do what I truly want to do. Right? You can tell when people are finally making money, they dress ridiculous or they act ridiculous, and then they're of resource to other people. They don't need anybody else, so they could finally step out. But lately, we've been even seeing the fact that no, you can't, because then we'll cancel you. Right?
Well, I've been fortunate to be around many affluent people at different levels of their financial development and personal development. And what I saw with that is, the trials never end. And so you get the money, and then what? There's like a divorce or a car accident
Right.
or whatever. There's like always, or something with the money. Like a lot of these guys have made a lot of money now with the nature of kind of the digital space now. Even they're like having to try all this different stuff, and stuff they were doing back in the day that made them a bunch of money isn't working as well anymore.
Yeah.
So we're, there's always something keeping us engaged in the experience. And so really there's nothing, like, it's never we get something and then it's all good. It's like, it's all, there's a quote from the Buddha, I believe, and it has to do with basically, um, you know, basically the quote says that his teachings are like a raft and they only get you to the shore. And the sad part is many people mistake the raft for the shore. But you can look at this in a bigger picture of life. You know, these things, the finances, the relationships, like all this stuff, all your life experience, every moment is only the raft. It's only bringing you to the shore, but it is not the shore in itself. So the destination is like an ever changing process as we're evolving. And so, you know, that's why they say like enjoy what you're doing. And you know, this comes back to Rudolph Steiner, where it's like all this stuff's a program, and like we still need to engage in the material world and, you know, maintain our health and our, you know, if you have a family, providing for your family, he teaches us, you know, the most important, obviously. And so these things, you know, it's it's all like a game, right? But it's about moving from a place of love, moving from a motivation that comes from within. And this can be a simple mindset shift, right? Like let's say you're doing business, right? And you're like, oh, like, you know, the system and like, you know, whatever, you don't like the way things are. You're like, this is evil, money's evil, whatever. Uh, you know, you can even step out of that and reframe it and be like, oh, I get the opportunity to like play this character as this like
Yeah.
entrepreneur guy and like serve people in some way, deliver some value to them, and move from a place of love. And in doing so, you're investing in something that is inherently fulfilling.